The black boy looked at the handful of money in his hand, and his mouth rose unconsciously. He had never felt that making money was so easy, so a crazy thought flashed in his mind. He found the boss who gave him flour here, but at this time, the boss seemed to be in trouble. One of his subordinates put bulletproof vests on him, and as a result, he would die. If he wanted to keep him alive, he had to be sent to the hospital. However, the driver also faced the risk of being taken to the hospital. He didn't hear a single word because he was too experienced in this kind of thing. He kicked the accelerator to the hospital and threw the boss's subordinates on the ground. Then, he left this place regardless.
In this way, your brother got the goods again. The boss appreciated this young man who dared to think and do, as if he saw his young self in him.
Smart ass. Get yourself killed on that bike, then I'll never see my fucking money.
In the evening, he found Sister Black again. With the previous cooperation, both parties were very happy this time. However, he had already touched someone else's cake. How could a financial owner like Sister Black have no suppliers? Now that Brother Me has stepped in and cut off their financial path, if there is no accident, there will be an accident here. Just as your brother was about to ride his own lantern, a car suddenly appeared behind him. He then walked into the bar to ask for help from Sister Black. But Sister Black didn't intend to help him. Instead, she told him a philosophy of life. Before you are strong enough, don't steal other people's customers easily. Today's scene was also expected by him. Before leaving, Sister Hay told her that Lani and Lele, who attacked you, could find them just by inquiring. On the second day, Mige found his good brother Big Head and asked him if he knew some sighted people. Big Head said that such people were easy to find, but their prices didn't match. However, in order to get back money, Mige couldn't take care of so much. Then two people came to the boss's funeral bit in a residential area and saw that there was business delivered to their door.
Now there's Lenny up in there. Well, you know, we got the cash shots. I got your shit home way, Raise.
A pro must handle a bitch's matter. She mourned the mark, drew her pistol, and planned to solve it simply and rudely. Unexpectedly, Mige was pinned against the wall immediately after.
You know, bitch out eating, get right in.
The moment the other party opened the door, Shang Biao broke into the door. Several people pressed her to the ground and tied mulberry labels with baseball bats to open for her. Your brother hurriedly stopped him and asked Lani in his own way, but the other party didn't know what was good or bad. He didn't pay attention to him at all. At this moment, his subordinate suddenly knocked on the door. Several people hurriedly covered her mouth to prevent the situation from escalating further. She thought that eldest brother wasn't at home and left. Shang Biao completely lost patience. She wanted to use her own methods to teach this kid a good lesson. Hearing the heart-wrenching screams coming from the room, he soon walked out of the room with satisfaction. The robbed man finally saw the light of day and lost the bid. Seeing the money, he actually planned to take it alone, and the money didn't care what the two people thought.
Hold up, that's my money.
Shang Biao King smiled and took the mane and left. Brother Mi was also angry and didn't dare to speak out. He could only watch him take his money. After returning, he was drinking alone. Brother Mi, who had been bullied again and again, gradually darkened, so he asked his uncle for a pistol. Aunt turned around and wanted to take it for him, but he was stopped by him. He earnestly told his nephew that if you walked out with a gun, you should use it in any environment. But if you still hesitated to pull it out, you would only end up dead. How could Brother Mai not know his uncle's good intentions? But in order to change his destiny, he did not hesitate to pay any price. In this way, your brother got the first weapon in his life from his uncle, and it was from this day that he made him step by step towards the existence that was looked up to. Finally, the two of them drove to the desert far away from the city, but it didn't take long for them to find a funeral sign from the trunk, which actually woke up two people. Marked and beaten, they waited for the other party to come out and took them down. But when they went down, they didn't find Shang Biao's body, so they followed the blood on the ground all the way and finally found the target behind a stone pillar. Your brother took the pistol and slowly walked towards Shang Biao. He really regretted it. Why did I provoke such a stupid piano morning watch, indicating that I have old and young? Can you give him another chance? Your brother became him, but he only has this one chance. After returning, he compared his motorcycle with the labeled car at the dealer and recovered the flour loss. He returned the money to Boss Baima, gaining his trust. White Mao was ready to give him more fire, but Brother Kemi intervened.
Brother Long.
Thank you, Large.
Young man.
Doesn't...
Despite feeling strange, I still harbor a bit of pity.
Well... IT lasted longer than I thought you would, kid. For everybody.
After receiving the response, Mige walked out of the mansion inadvertently, but could he really escape unscathed? On this day, my uncle's house held a carnival party, and Lin Chi, a close friend of the black neighborhood, gathered here. However, my good brother Big Head brought him a partner to expand their eyesight. However, Mige had washed his hands in a golden basin. He told my good brother that he didn't want to get into trouble again, and just wanted to live a good life in the future. But then something happened, completely changed her mind. My uncle accidentally lit a fireworks tube on the roof, and soon a police officer came to her door. Brother Me, who was aggressive, couldn't stand their arrogance, but he was blown up by the police officers. He hated the injustice of this world, so he secretly made up his mind to be the worst guilty person. It was Jin Lee tonight that completely changed his life. With the end of this farce, Mige and his brothers sat on the roof chatting, and after careful consideration, she told 2 people.
I
Love you, babe. On the second day, Jean successfully got 4 kilograms of fire from the boss, but when she came to the bar, Black Sister told her that she only needed 2 kilograms. Your brother looked puzzled, but these were all short goods. Black Sister advised her to go somewhere else if she wanted to make a lot of money. This block is so big, if you monopolize it, it will only bring fire to death to all of us.
Another cliche.
A prophecy. Your brother knew that he was not strong enough, so he secretly made up his mind to establish a reliable sales network and build his own business empire. To this end, he found his uncle to discuss how to open up sales channels. But his uncle told him a story.
A lot. All of people got tapped behind that situation. It turns out that this is why my uncle didn't touch Flower. Brother Kemi was unwilling, so he only made a small fight in the community. Aunt saw her idea and suggested that she go to Nice to find out. Then several people found Uncle Nice and asked her to tell her what happened in this city before, so that her nephew wanted to get ahead. Nice told him that the flower business in the whole city was now in the hands of Mexicans.
You got 3 jewels?
These streets teach you in the future halls which nobody knows US.
There was no choice between the first 2 things, but he was still unmoved that he could decide his own opinion about his future. Nice had no choice but to give him the address of the Mexican. He broke into the territory of the Mexican today, but he was targeted as soon as he came in. Seeing their fierce eyes, your brother seemed a little flustered and lied that she was lost and accidentally drove here. She quickly started the car and was about to leave, but the next second,
Your brother was dragged out of the car, and several people pressed him into the car and began to search him. Soon he found a small bag of flour from his pocket. Looking at his sneaky appearance, he didn't look like a good man. He punched and kicked him and was about to be dragged into the house. At this moment, a man stopped him from being a partner of a drug lord. Seeing that the young man was still young, he helped him. The man still had some face here. Little did they know that a huge opportunity was in front of her. She came to an abandoned casualty and unconsciously walked inside. It turned out that this was once her father's Tanku Black Panther candy. Memories of the past came to mind. At this moment, a girl with hair on her head woke him up, and the two hit it off at first sight and talked about the story of this Tanku. Later, he showed his new flower to your brother. Mige, who had never seen this kind of thing before, showed a business opportunity. Then, under the leadership of the girl, he found the merchant who sold this flower. He didn't understand why they sold it so cheaply, but the merchant said that they were only responsible for selling others. He didn't know that your brother took out a dozen money to buy all his inventory, and he only had one request, that is, to take himself to see their upper limit. Brother Me seemed to have opened the second pulse of people and engraved all the knowledge points into the drum. After this flower was formed, the cost was reduced by at least 10 times. On the second day, the two brothers kept complaining when they saw him. Why did the agreed deal suddenly flash? You didn't cross but showed them the results of your own page. Our future.
This time.
Coming to Oakland has benefited your brother a lot. Two good brothers asked him when he could sell it, but Jay said a plan that would make them collapse. This batch of flour will only be delivered, but not sold. Since no one knows this kind of thing yet, their first step is to open the completed market. Then Big Head and Kevin came to the block to give it away for free, according to Miji's instructions. At this time, a girl with hair on her head came here. Kevin sent her a bag of samples directly and asked her to spread the news.
Guy, this kid wants to do his own man-made disaster. Then the female brother assured him that he only needed to sell it in a few nearby blocks, and his monthly income could reach more than 7 figures. Hearing such an attractive amount, my uncle and aunt lit up. When they agreed, everything was going on in an orderly manner. In the evening, your brother came to the park to check the gift situation, and the Big Head gave him a free day. He didn't get a penny of flour. However, as soon as he arrived here, he found that the group of people who had taken the goods had been waiting here early, just to get the goods as soon as possible. Seeing the scene in front of him, he knew that his dream of business empire was about to come true. After a wave of hot distribution, your brother made a lot of money and was ready to go home to prepare some goods. However, as soon as he got home to drink some water, he found that the backyard was in a mess. When he took a closer look, Big Head was actually lying on the ground and suffered a serious gunshot wound. Big Head told her that Lanny had done it. Your brother hurriedly called an ambulance.
When he came back, Big Head reminded him to hide the flour. He was numb, and he had forgotten such an important thing. Someone was shot, and the police would definitely come to the door to investigate. Your brother ran back to the bedroom at a sprint speed of 100 meters, and put all the remaining inventory into his bag. But after running out to look at it for a long time, there was nowhere to hide at all. Seeing the window opened by the neighbor's house, she had a brainwave, and put her school bag into the cloakroom to hide it. Then she hurriedly came out to check Big Head's injury. Malele said, "You moved first," and Laney smashed his house again. "Isn't it normal for him to take revenge on you?" Your brother pointed to the scar on his forehead and told him that if you hadn't done it first, it wouldn't have happened. Then he warned Lele that there was a policeman living next door. He saw 2 men sneaking around all the time and wanted to identify herself. Hearing this, Lele became fierce, and she didn't want to squat down, so she asked Brother Me what he was doing when he came to her.
No troops.
What?
What the fuck is we doing? We don't talk minutes. Because what it's about, right? Money.
After a lot of business, he walked out of the restaurant uneasily. So what did Brother Me tell him?
Your brother's career is flourishing, but his mother is facing unemployment. There was a fallout with the company, and now the leader refuses to write a reference letter. Mige unexpectedly took out a dozen money, allowing his mother to rest for a while. What he needs most now is money. When he returns to the room, Mige packs up his daily necessities, ready to focus on his career.
Just so you know, we charge here.
Mao started his career. Your brother knew that his temper could only break his teeth and put 3 people in his stomach. After his uncle proposed to send someone to squat here, and his hands could squat out of Bai Mao's home in less than 3 days. At that time, we can directly wash with the supplier merchant, and the designation was cheaper than what the White Cat gave. Brother Lee had no support and turned away. Then they came to a secret place. Soon, a car came here.
Darn it, Jewish.
Alright, we good.
We aren't. You need to know where exactly this mess never ends up leaving this place? Nah, man, forget about it. Make sure you stay silent or you'll both be there.
After so many hardships, your brother's mood has matured a lot. He took out a mane and threw it to Lele, and said that it was not a problem before cooperating with me, but I need to know whether you are reliable or not. The eyes of Yulei gradually became firm. When she picked up the knife on the ground and really wanted to do it, she hesitated. Your brother took out a pistol and asked her to make a choice, and finally killed her former good eldest brother under his coercion.
For Liam, your brother.
He controlled all the flour life in Black Kite Block, and also had a very safe sales system. They stuffed the flour into snack packages, then used mobile dining trucks as a cover, distributed ice cream to children for free, and then sold the flour to those in need. After the day's work, they packed the garbage bags full of money and took them away, and the core personnel brought them back to the treasury. At this time, the money was just a string of numbers in his eyes. Until this day, he came to Big Old White Mao again.
Has everyone knows, with Bai Mao like a fish, a shocking conspiracy will fall on his head. As for whether it is opportunity or destruction, it depends on how Mige responds. It turns out that Bai Mao is a blind person of the CIA, and they have been secretly engaged in grey transactions. That is to say, Bai Mao's flour is provided by the CIA, and this grey income will be used by Congress for the independence of war outside. As for the reason, I don't have to think about it.
So now the question that I have to add, can you handle this?
Yes, sir.
I am very glad to hear to say.
That's exactly why Bill aimed at Mige, who'd been in the spotlight recently. On this day, Mige was about to go out and have a good time, racing down the dark street, but he could only enjoy it for a moment. So,
I'm really sorry about this, man.
How is your neck to your brother? He also gave him a dose of electrotherapy directly, and then took out the stinky socks he had just worn to stun him. When Mige woke up again and saw her surroundings, she was blinded on the spot. But just as she turned her head, she found that her good brother Big Head was also tied up. Only then did he realize that this was a premeditated car accident. Soon, a man came in. This man was CIA agent Bill. He pointed his gun at Mige and asked him if he knew who he was. But at this time, Mige was already carried away by fear. How could he guess his identity? Bill was very disappointed with him, so he pointed the gun at his good brother. Asked Mige again if he knew who he was, and seeing that his good brother was going to die here, your brother finally guessed his identity. He was Bill, the supplier of Big Lao white hair, full of pleasure, and being able to deal with the source of supply, which would greatly improve their profit margins. He told Bill that he could eat 10 kilograms of tigers every week, and the business was still expanding. However, in front of us, the fire bats, his cognition seems that he is still low-key. Seeing Mige Bill, who looks like a curious baby, he decided to take this new partner to experience a lap. But Mige never expected that during his disappearance, something big happened at home. Kevin's men were in the street spirit beast stone, and a woman wanted to see them, and the boss bought all his goods. Two men completely forgot what Mige said, that is, he couldn't sell it to Mexicans and whites.
Go back to hell.
In this way, the two criminals received lunchboxes on the spot. On the second day, Kevin learned that his younger brother had been killed, and quickly informed his teammates. He really endured the calm for a while. The more he thought about it, the more people became. Even if he took out weapons of different models to revenge his dead brother, he had to let the Mexicans give an explanation today. Several people came to the Mexican gang's territory, but after waiting for a long time, they didn't see anyone come out. When he returned, he was furious. She had only been gone for a day, and there was such a big mess in the family. She reprimanded everyone for not staying calm. As the other party dared to come to the door, he had enough confidence to kill. Aren't you rushing in like a sheep into a tiger's mouth? After calming down, your brother asked the cause and effect, and learned that a woman left a business card that day. Something happened that night, and your brother called the number. Empress of the Palace, he questioned the woman. Why were my subordinates killed after you left yesterday? And the woman's face was stunned.
What the heck, Lucy?
You said that she could check it out, and then the two sides made an appointment with the meeting place. The woman knew that only by resolving the misunderstanding could she have a chance to cooperate, because at this time, Mige was no longer the careless head. On the second day, the two sides met at the agreed point. The man who was traveling with Lucia looked blinded. Is this the black boy he saved from the Mexicans? After exchanging pleasantries, your brother and Lucia came to the pavilion and chatted with him privately. His attitude was very firm, and he had great resources in his hands. If you want to cooperate, you must help me find the murderer. Lucia told her she knew who did it. You!
Everyone you know, but...
Your brother firmly stated that before we cooperate, I must avenge my dead brother. Lucia understood and promised to negotiate a satisfactory resolution. They temporarily agreed, but Karen was upset. How to address her brother's enmity? Your brother said Lucia would give an explanation, but Kevin still complained, saying she should act professionally. Big Head hurriedly stood between them and signaled to maintain their friendship. In the afternoon, he attacked Bill Yue, and they met as intended. It was their first cooperation, exchanging money and goods neatly. Your brother expanded from a small defense. He is now stable, but my uncle worries about how so much goods will be managed.
Thing round move.
With the growth of the enterprise, your brother's ambitions have steadily increased. Following the recent incident involving his subordinates, he recognized his vulnerabilities, leading to an ambitious notion, establishing a fully equipped private militia.